Hi everyone. We're going to wait and build up an audience for a second. And Philip will be right here. So, how's everybody doing today? We're going to get it started. Philip will be here in just a second. We're going to build up an audience for a minute. Well, there he is in the background. All right. Here he comes.
Good afternoon. Are we on live?
Yeah, you have 38 followers right now.
Okay, good. Good afternoon. Hope everybody's well. We wanted to kind of give you, the public, a quick update on the DeOrr Kunz case. We understand there's been some media that has come out, and we understand that there's some questions that some of you may have today for us on the DeOrr Kunz case. Let me give you the update. We are still engaged in the case. The case is progressing forward. Again, we will be back up in the DeOrr area. We're not going to release when we're coming back up in the DeOrr area, but we are going to come back up there based upon two tips that we've received in this office that we deem to be credible. We want to tell everybody that the tip line is still open. If you know something, say something. Or if you're uncomfortable in talking to us, you can talk to your local law enforcement, as well as you can talk to the Bonneville County Sheriff's Department. That is a good option for you. Or if you're not interested in talking to law enforcement, you can talk to us. We've had a question that was asked to us, a couple of questions here that have been asked to us, why we felt the reward was not working. Reward's not working because the two people that we believe to be involved aren't interested in the reward. The second is that the second question that we have is that do we feel that there is any charges that will be filed? Again, we're not in the charge filing business. We are in the finding baby business, and I would anticipate, as I've said all along, that it's not a matter of when, or it's not a matter of if charges will be filed, when charges will be filed. So anyway, it's we wanted to just kind of give you that brief. As we promised you, we'll be giving quarterly briefs to the public. There was another question on how much money has been spent of the original money that was raised by the public to date, and I'm going to give you round numbers because I don't have the exact numbers, but $34,000 has been spent on travel for the team, the dog teams, investigator teams, undercover investigators that have been up into that area. And the actual hourly per investigator, we have now crested just over $173,000 of our own money. So that's kind of where we are on this, and so I'll start taking questions. Was Jessica offered prosecutorial immunity? I'm not going to answer that question. That's between Jessica and the FBI at this point. I pray he gets found. We do too. Thank you for your team. We appreciate that. What are your thoughts of Vernal talking to Penner after the May 18th release? We're just not going to talk about that because we don't know which story he told this time. There's a lot of different stories. There's another one that was that is listed for me here in our cooperation with CBS, I think it is, or Fox, that has nationally, who's going to do a story on this. I believe it's an hour-long story. We're willing to announce today that we have released the interviews, the original taped interviews with Vernal with Jessica and with Bob. We have released those to the media. I believe they went out today to the media outlets for them to decipher. We've been accused of snipping the tapes. We wanted a third-person independent party to take a look at the tapes, and that is our work product, and we have released that. We have not released any of the police videos. We have not released anything, only our videos. So let's get back to questions. Sheriff Penner says he'll continue to look on the mountain. Do you believe he's up there? Yeah, I believe he's about a mile square radius around there, maybe 5 mile square radius around there based upon the timeline. Yeah, we believe the baby's up there. Are the parents still considered suspects by law enforcement? Absolutely, yes, and from what we've been told, and we do consider them suspects as well. Let's see. We are praying too that the baby gets found. We really are. Will Vernal's 911 call now be released? No, that goes to prosecutorial, and we've been asked not to release that, so we're not. I made a mistake last time saying that we would release that, and I've had to come back on that simply for prosecutorial purposes. Do you think little DeOrr was ever at the campground? You know, that's a great question, Anna Lyle. That is a great question. We believe the baby was in the area at the time, but now based upon further evidence that we've garnered through witness interviews, we've had to back our timeline up by about 12 to 18 hours. Did Vernal and Jessica go into detail about the diesel purchase or the multiple charger purchases? Without the multiple charger purchases, no, they never did tell us about that. We learned that, and the law enforcement learned that. The diesel purchases, no, they did not tell us about that. They told us they stopped for a pizza or Juju's or whatever you call them, and from different times. Do you feel like charges will be brought soon? You know, I can't predict that. That's between that's Sheriff Penner's division. He's a great law enforcement officer. He's on this case. He's working it hard, as we are working it hard too. So I don't want to speak for Sheriff Penner. You're very welcome, Carly. I do appreciate that. You know, we have caught a lot of hard times on this from a lot of people in Idaho. We believe there is a group operation trying to discredit us and trying to discredit the Sheriff's Department, which I think is a shame. All of us are very hardworking. As you know, as I look in this camera here, I got black under my eyes again, so you guys can tell how hard we've been working on these missing person cases. Yeah, I'm 100%. Steve Pitzing, Steve, if I mispronounced your name, I'm sorry. Is your firm 100% sure DeOrr didn't wander away? Yes, we're 100% sure. What's your opinion why the dogs never found much of a hit? Remains were such close. Well, because the dogs did find a hit. I mean, you're wrong there in your simulation. We did find a hit up there. We believe it was a lay down area. We believe, without getting into anything further, that the baby was transported out of the area. I'm not going to answer the question on Trina Clegg or her polygraph. What's my feelings on Trina? You know, she's a grandma. You know, as much as Trina doesn't like us, we like her. We just think that, as any grandparent would be, she's wrapped up a little too tight in this thing, and I think she tries to protect her daughter rather than, which may be normal. I don't know. We just think that Trina needs to step up to the plate a little bit more and talk to her daughter a little bit more. Does Jessica actually have a fishing pole with her at Timber Creek? Yes, the answer to that would be correct. A fishing license? That's a good question. I never did ask that question, so I don't know. Are the parents saying anything new in their stories? No. It depends upon, 1 through 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know how many they've told now. You have to pick and choose what's true and what's not. They're not saying anything new, but to answer your question. Amanda Ames asks, is law enforcement looking at any other people as suspects? No. Amanda, I say no, not as far as I know. They have not shared that with us. How involved have the parents been in searching the site? I don't want to get into that because my belief, and I think my team's belief, is they're nothing but liars. And so, they can go up there and search all they want. They're not going to find anything because they don't want us or anybody else to find anything, in my belief. Did Vernal purchase tires soon after the camping trip? I have no comment on that. So the dog died on the trip. I have no comment on that. The whole story breaks your heart. Amy, yes, it breaks our heart too. There's a lot of solace nights, as I've said before. There's a lot of nights we lay in bed and stare at our ceilings trying to figure out, base motive on this and areas that we may have missed or may not have missed. Do you see the Molly Miller case resolved? We're kind of limiting this to DeOrr Kunz today. I really can't comment on the Molly Miller case because that, again, is in high gear also. So we'll just kind of leave that alone today. Has the store receipt been collected? Yes. Both store receipts, if that gives you any idea. I don't know if they're represented by any attorney. That's between them and their attorney. The fish in the creek were supposed to be caught by Isaac. Were there fish other than minnows? When I went down there, I saw a bunch of little different fish, from minnows to fingerlings. So, they're up all over the place there. You didn't mean your search dogs. You meant they hid. The original search and rescue dogs. Okay, so let's talk about that. According to the witness statements that we have read, the search and rescue dogs were sent out away from the camp up towards the reservoir. They got about 15, 20, 30, 40 feet away. They immediately jumped up there and ran back to the area of the truck and the Suburban. That happened 4 or 5 times. So the search and rescue dogs did not hit a scent down that way, according to what I've been told in the reports I've read from law enforcement. As a baby Ember case, again, we're dealing today with DeOrr Kunz, so we'll ask those questions. We'll dedicate a whole hour to baby Ember when we're ready. Did Isaac tell Ellie a different story from what we heard from the media? No, Isaac's story has never changed. He has been very direct, very specific. Timeline has stayed intact. I know this press conference laid DeOrr, but I would love to see a live feed. We just answer that question. We'll do one. Let's go to another question that was emailed in today. Are you planning on coming up soon? I think we've already answered that question. We're not going to tell when we're up there. Seemingly we have issues with some people out there that are trying to discredit us and push us out of some search areas. So folks, we're just not going to discuss it. We'll slide on in there in the middle of the night and get started one morning, and I'm sure it'll get out through the press, but we'd like to have at least a day before we start drawing crowds or before people start coming up that way to see what we're doing. So I hope that answers your question. Let's see. It doesn't seem like there's any questions here. That or my machine has gone down. Let's go back to one from the internet regarding Vernal Kunz. Do you believe Vernal Kunz is still a chief suspect? Yes, we do believe. We believe that he's a chief suspect, and I have heard nothing out of law enforcement that tells us anything different. Let me look over here on this one. Mr. Klein, how long have you been doing this? I don't know if that means anything. 23 to 25 years in the child rescue business. And the second part of the question was, does this upset you? Yeah, it does. I mean, it's dealing with kids, but that's the chosen profession, and that's the way it is. Let's see here. I don't know if this is frozen or not. There we go. Okay, very good. I'm sorry, it was frozen. You mentioned the press has the full interviews. No, they don't, but they're on their way to Fox USA out of Atlanta, Georgia, and they are on their way to California to People USA. We have made the decision to go ahead and release them fully. So Vernal, Jessica, and Bob's will be released fully to the media. And that should pretty much solve all of the conjecture, can we say? conjecture in their original statements to verify what they've said and what their original statements were. I think that will pretty much tell the story. Have you seen Vernal's recent Facebook comments? That would go into case production. We're not going to talk about that. Your question is, has that been reported to me? I'll answer it that way. Yes, it has. But we understand that he likes to put things up because he thinks he's smarter than everybody else. He likes to put things up to try to make the investigators go down wrong paths, as it may be suggested in some of his posts. So our position is that we take, well, as it's been since probably the third or fourth interview with him, we take everything Vernal says with a grain of salt. Did the stage clerk remember Jessica Vernal? Absolutely not. They did not. Have you seen Vernal's Facebook comments? We've done that. Accidental or intentional? My crew Steve has moved me to pretty much over the line now. I've been following it as an accident. I believe that we may be dealing with a capital murder situation. That's my belief. Do you believe Bob knows what happened to DeOrr? Yes. Why did believe DeOrr is actually deceased? Amy, thank you for your question based upon the evidence that has been presented to us and the physical evidence that we have been proffered to. Thank you, Brenna Lati, I guess. Brenna, I'm sorry. I hope I didn't mispronounce your name. Yes, we appreciate you. And thank you for your nice comments. What 4-1 movie people are people talking about? There's Amy, and I guess I don't know if you're Diana or Amy, but Amy, we'll just call you. There was it was a movie that was produced about Bigfoot or animals coming out of woods taking people or people disappearing in national forests. I have not seen the movie yet. My staff has. There's really nothing for us as investigators for us to try to. There we go. We're back. Thank you, Facebook. There were two separate. Why two separate purchases? I don't know. Maybe you need to ask that to Vernal or Jessica. Is there something incriminating in 911 call? That's prosecutorial. I'm not going to talk about it. I want to know where the gaps are in their stories, and as that Bowerman mentioned. Amber, thank you for that. There are serious gaps in their memory, and there are serious gaps in their timeline. Let's say that begins at approximately 12:55 to 1:10, depending upon whose clock you're looking at. And then, of course, when the 911 calls came in, and again, I want to remind everybody, when the 911 calls are released to the public, one is already released to the public. When the other ones are released to the public, there are some time discrepancies between 2:21 and I believe 2:36 that day. We've been able to focus that down a little bit. Basically, there are towers that are pretty far away that send the cell signals. And sometimes there's a delay in the cell signal to the computer that logs it in, and we think that that's the situation. So I hope that answers your question. Who, what, when, where was Amber's on a roll today. I would like to know once and for all who, what, when, where, and why was DeOrr last seen. Well, maybe you need to ask Vernal and Jessica that. Who was the last person to see him? According to Vernal, it was Vernal, and according to Jessica, it was Jessica, and according to Bob, well, he's just not sure. So who, what, when, where, and why? Three people have given us three different stories, so maybe that's a good question for them. Has Isaac's recollection of him at the campfire been disproven? Isaac's story has never changed again. Isaac kind of states his own thing there. That's public. You can look it up. I'm not going to get into Isaac's statement because Isaac seems to be the only one telling the truth. Can you talk about, I'm sorry, my alarm system went off here. I apologize. Can you talk about the credit card receipt at the apartment? No, I cannot. That's in police custody. Are you planning on coming back out to Idaho? Yes, I am. I am going to be coming out to Idaho again. We just have not planned when. This is a team operation. We have people from all over the country, Florida, Georgia, Texas, California. We have people from all over the place coming out on this next one. Right now, what we're doing is focusing, concentrating on mapping, time distance mapping, that sort of thing. Jennifer Riles, and I hope I don't mess up your name here. Accident and scared or planning on purpose? You know, again, we're going back over to my staff is fully planning on purpose, and maybe not on purpose, but on a whim in a moment. But we have moved. I mean, I'm just going to be honest with y'all. We have moved this from an accidental case to a homicide case at this point, and based upon what we have. Do you think they'll ever find him? Boy, that's a great question. I pray every night that happens. I'd like to get this case off the books, simply because I want to give answers to everybody, the innocent, and I want to prosecute the guilty. Not me prosecute, but the government prosecute the guilty. Will this one remain online so those at work can catch up? I don't know. That's up to staff down the hallway. They'll make that decision. Why no grand jury? That'd be the direction. I don't know. I can't answer that question. The prosecutor has to answer that question. Was Jessica and Vernal's old apartment searched with the dog? Yes. And was searching behind the walls and under the floor? Yes. The dog did search the complete entire part of that apartment. Some of the crazy ninnies out there started with the BS of we didn't have a search warrant. We didn't need a search warrant. The guy who owned the place gave us the opportunity to do that. So that's some of that crazy craw stuff. I don't know, just crazy stuff. Are there anywhere near solving the case? You know, I kind of think so. I kind of think we get closer and closer with every week. But, you know, it's up to the prosecutors to decide. I would probably anticipate, and again, I'm shooting in the dark here, but I would probably anticipate there will be some type of charge, maybe even being a child. I don't know what the charge would be in Idaho. I'm trying to think of the Idaho statute because I looked at it the other day. A child abandonment case, maybe a child endangerment case. I think that's where it'll start off. I think once one of them gets handcuffs on them, because they're already pointing the finger at each other. I mean, they are. Vernal's pointing at Jessica. Jessica's pointing at Vernal. Which one's going to be the one to give it up first is the question. So we'll see what happens. You know, and for them to deny that they're pointing the finger at each other, I mean, they did it on videotape. My God. I mean, you know, that's just silliness. Baby DeOrr deserves to be laid to rest property. Brittany, that is, you know what, Brittany McCord, that you just said it. You just said it right there. That baby deserves to be laid to rest properly. You're right, and I want that for the family. Lori Kunz out there, I want that for Lori Kunz. I want that for the Kunz family. I think the Kunz family deserves that, and I think you know, the rest of them deserve it too. But I think the rest of them need to take a gut check sometimes. Was Vernal's voice in the background of Jessica's 911 call confirmed? You know, again, that gets back into the 911 call, the tape, prosecutorial issues. There's vis-a-vis their statements of what they told police the first time and then the sixth time. You know, that they're going to have to answer for that, I would have a feeling. Did Bob and Isaac leave the campsite? Vernal made a slip up on the missing 411s where he said Bob and Isaac were pulled and then stops himself. Yeah, I know. Vernal has a problem with that, I think. Isaac gives me the creeps. He shouldn't, Amanda Ames. Isaac is Isaac's just a different guy, and sometimes there's different people in life, and that doesn't mean they're bad people. I don't believe Isaac is a bad person. I believe Isaac has his whims. You know, is he strange? Well, a lot of people say I'm strange. So I mean, tomato, but I've always gotten along with Isaac well, and I think Isaac's gotten along well with my staff. And no, he is not a suspect. Do I think Isaac was taken on a trip to be used as a scapegoat, Jan? That's a great question, and my answer is we are examining that. Any motive on your opinion? Again, I've always been on it was an accident based upon the physical evidence that's been told to us and shown to us and examined by us and time distance studies by us. But there comes a point where if you don't get one of them to say, hey, it was an accident, or hey, she got mad, or if they just don't tell the truth, I don't know the motive. I got to hear the motive from them. My belief is there's two people that know this motive. And so we've got to get one of them to come clean, in my opinion. And we'll see if we can't get there. I think when handcuffs start coming out, I think that will kind of wake some people up. What to look for while you're out there camping? Okay, so Allie, great question. If you're going out there camping, we're looking for what we call soft spots in the ground. So if you see what we call a cave-in spot or a soft spot, and you have a metal probe, and you can push that metal probe into the ground more than 2 or 3 feet, that's something that we want to see. Report that to your local law enforcement up there. They'll come out and excavate it. There's another question here about excavation. To answer your question, yes, we did excavate one site, but not fully. We will be going back up there to excavate that site again. We did secretly mark it, so that all the people up there that are trying to go up there and be junior investigators, so they didn't get into that area. But it is on the mountain, I will say that. Let's see. Thank you, Klein. We appreciate that. Thank you, Amber. I appreciate that. Mary Poe, the FBI did perform their own polygraphs and they failed correct. Yes, they did correct, and we're not going to talk about Trinas. What happened to the supposed dogs that were at the camp with the families? Again, that's evidence, and I don't want to talk about that. Was Jessica's car searched by cadaver dogs? No, she was not. Not to my beknownst. I think all cars were searched at the house. I'm sorry, I'm drinking so much water. It's 97 degrees here in Texas today. I'm going to have to say Brittany Bruckner. I'm sorry, guys, for the names. Brunco, I guess, is the name. I can't answer that fully, dear. I know our cadaver dogs that we brought in came in and searched the area very hard. And again, as I've told everybody, we did get a hit. They are pointing fingers at one another, but in the news interval, Vernal says we were together the entire time. Yeah, that does say a lot, doesn't it? It's funny how sometimes things work out in these cases, isn't it? Lori is amazing. I feel awful for her. Yes, Amanda, we feel the same way. We love Lori. She is an amazing woman. I'm so sorry that she's been pulled into this. And again, I guess she's cut off all communication with us now. So but we appreciate Lori, and God bless her, and we love her and we love her family. Just love us some Lori. Do you think Isaac knows what happened to DeOrr? Answer: no, I do not think he knows what happened to DeOrr. Are you going to leave this up so people can watch? I don't know. That's up to the staff down the hall. I don't make those decisions. By releasing Jessica, Bob, and Isaac videos and not DeOrr's, does that mean you believe DeOrr is a guilty one? No, that's not what we said, Christina. And again, Poutier, I guess that's how you pronounce it. We have released DeOrr's, and we've released Vernal. So let's don't confuse DeOrr with Vernal. Vernal is the father. DeOrr is the baby that we're looking for. So Vernal, Jessica, and Bob video have been released. Isaac's video will not be released. In fact, it already has. In fact, I just heard from them down the hall that it is at UPS and on the way to news media. Do you think they hid DeOrr in the middle of the night, Friday night, early Saturday? That, like I said, that is an option that is on the table right now. Where the dog hit, there definitely was human scent remains in that area. We think there will be a laydown. I will be in Nederland visiting my dad tomorrow from Idaho. Thank you for what you're doing. Well, Jessica, thank you so much. And our offices are in the 800 block of Nederland Avenue, so if there's some black Tahoes sitting out front, which there probably will be, that means we're in here working. So just come knock on the door. We'd love to shake your hand. How about Bob's health? Do you think when Bob passes, the parents will blame him? That's a great question, Jenny. You know, I don't look into crystal balls in these cases. I look at what I've got. But when you put it that way, it just wouldn't surprise me. Nothing surprises me with Vernal and Jessica. Nothing. Absolutely nothing now surprises me. Just nothing. At what point will prosecutors decide to move forward without a body? Again, that's up to the prosecutors. I don't speak for the prosecutors. I know there is discussion, but I don't know where that discussion will lead. When was the last time you spoke to Penner? I'd have to ask. We log all that stuff. Last week? What? A week ago? A week ago. I'm being yelled at in the hallway a week ago. Some of the other detectives, we talk more than Penner because Penner's the sheriff and he has a lot to do up there besides this DeOrr Kunz case. There's other police calls that come in, guys. So cut him a little bit of a break. He's really working hard up there, and he works every day on this case, I know, because we have that discussion. But there's a lot of other detectives, especially down in Idaho Falls, working on it, and the FBI working on it. So, I mean, we discuss in between all of us, either via email or phone or letter, or we send stuff back and forth pretty much every week. So I guess the quick answer is every week. Do you think, Desiree Graham asks, do you think both Jessica and Vernal know the exact location of DeOrr? I can't answer that question for you. That's in their hearts and minds. What do I think they know? I think they know, yeah. What about the severe sunburn theory? No severe sunburns theory. That threw out the window. Just joined, sorry. Jessica, have any other children? I'm not going to discuss her other children because those children are old enough now to watch the internet. I think it's a horrific situation. They're both pointing the finger at each other, and we'll let Jessica explain that to her children one day. Let's see. Let's jump through a bunch of these because we're running out of time. In fact, I'm 9 minutes over and they're already screaming at me down the hall because I have a meeting. So let's see what we've got here. Anything that we have not answered. Desiree Graham, again, are there any DeOrr's blankets that are missing, like one might be buried with them? Let me look into the camera here. Which one? This one? No comment. Thank you, KIC. I appreciate it. Was Lemhi or Idaho Falls landfills dump search? No comment. I believe Vernal accidentally ran over the baby and still do. The truck always bothered me. Do you think it was highly likely? I used to think it was highly likely, but not anymore. Jen Howell, we've discussed this. Molly Miller, we'll do a separate one for Molly Miller. This is about DeOrr Kunz today. Rachel Voss, let's see, was the dog Grace that was examined when you were there? Was it the dog that was hit during the search or a dog after the incident? Let's go over that again. So on the day of the incident, there was a bunch of search and rescue dogs, SAR dogs. The SAR dogs took off over towards the reservoir and then immediately turned back and came back to the truck and the Suburban. They would continue to do that. So that indicates a hot hit near the truck and Suburban on the day of, okay? So they didn't, the wives' tales that they took off to the reservoir and all this cremation stuff, I mean, that's all secondary to everything. That's not what the dogs did. If you have a child and there is a scent trail that was picked up, the dogs would have hit the scent over by where everybody says they last saw DeOrr. The dogs never came close to where everybody says that's where they last saw DeOrr. Where they did come close to is the back of the truck in the Suburban, that area, back in there. Secondarily, when we brought up Chance and Trey Sargent, the dog did hit on the diaper tree, around the diaper tree, on the ground of the diaper tree, and on a secondary location on the other side of the cattle guard in 2 areas. And that has been partially looked at. We're planning on taking some time and really looking at that a little bit more when we get back up there. Thank you, Rachel, for your question. Oh, thank you. Well, we appreciate that. You guys are wonderful. Brittany Bruckno says, Klein said he doesn't think he knows about baby DeOrr, and he is weird, but a nice guy. Oh, well, thank you, Brittany. I appreciate that. Let's see. I think she's talking about, okay, she's talking about that. Okay. I know you say no comment, but it sounds like the truck was a holding area for the body. One more internet that came through. Mr. Klein. Oh, well, that's so very nice of you. I really appreciate it. Look, guys, this is a tough case, and I have never been through the public from people that say they're behind crime to people that just come out of the woodwork that have beat us up, been so negative. I've never, ever put in money into a case and gone through what we've gone through in the legal system and in the public domain. I feel sometimes like a cheerleader for my employees, trying to keep them up, especially Investigator Gear, Holmes, Klein, and all my support staff down here, Investigator Mayotte, all the people that are working on this case. I don't know what to say to the public other than thank you for the wonderful comments. I mean, they really keep us going. When we get down and we work as hard as we've been working on these cases, we really appreciate it. There's another one that just came in. Let's see, because there's no more of these. Let's see these here. Okay, yes. The question is in a roundabout way. There's a guy on the internet that has a YouTube channel that deciphers cases, and he's deciphered the DeOrr case a couple of times. He's been, unfortunately, a little bit rough on us. All's good. We visited with him. In fact, I personally visited with him. He is a very nice guy. Can't say enough about him. Hard worker. I think he understands the case a little bit more. We kind of laid it out for him a little bit more, so he kind of understands it a little bit more. We look forward to hopefully forging a relationship with him for other missing persons cases, because he has some good tools there, and I think that there's a good possibility that he could help out in some missing persons cases rather than just be a sideliner in some of these cases, and a sideline type guy in the stands that doesn't get down the football field and play the game. I think possibly we could be in a situation where he could possibly get down on the field and help us out a little bit. So we're very impressed with him, and like I said, I had a wonderful talk with him. And of course, the media. I want to thank the media so much. Fox National, CBS National, out in California, the People Magazine folks. I want to say thank you to them. What a wonderful group of people. I think they really understand this case, and they're doing their job. They're just not doing a fluff piece. So I've been interviewed 3 or 4, 5, 6 times. It's been wonderful. Great interviews. They've asked great questions. They've challenged me. And thus is the reason why we have made the decision to turn over those 3 sets of interviews. Most are about 2.5 hours apiece. So they have a lot of stuff to go through. And we'll let them kind of present them to you in a way in a way that might be good. Okay, well, I'm getting pulled around. Well, I'm getting a bottle of water and being told time to go down the hallway to a meeting. Thank you so very much to everybody. We really do appreciate it. The staff will make the decision whether or not we replay this. I think it's a replay or something. I don't know. I'm not Mr. Facebook, so I do apologize. Thank you to the citizens of Idaho. Of course, thank you to the citizens of California. We love you guys. Appreciate it. Keep your hearts full. We're hopeful we'll find these babies, because they do need to come home. And again, before you guys get on the internet and start blasting other people and fighting, take a step back and take a breath, okay? It's not really worth it. If you want to take shots at me or my staff, that's fine. We're big people. We can handle it. But please be kind to each other out there, and we do appreciate you, okay? All right, with that, I thank everybody and hope you all have a great 4th of July weekend, and remember what it's all about. Remember what the 4th of July is all about. America's independence, okay? Prayers for everyone. Bye-bye.